Okay, we're going to look at this trigonometry problem, reduction problem. The first one is called a general question. And what do? The sine of 180 minus x. You have to know where 180 degrees is, and that if you minus x, you're bending clockwise up into this second quadrant. Now, sine is positive there. The reference angle is just x, so this thing is just the sine of x. It stays positive. The cosine of 90 minus x is the sine of x. That's just a rule there. It's just given. Now this cosine of 180 plus x, you have to know where that is. There's 180, and plus x means you go counterclockwise into this third quadrant, but cosine's negative there, so you put a bracket and you put minus cosine x. There's already a minus there, so you got minus cos x. Every time you do that, you get a mark. 360 minus x, well, there's 360 degrees, and then if you bend clockwise, that's minus x. You're in the fourth quadrant. That's cosine x there. Well, these two negatives make a plus. That's sine squared. That's cos squared. And you have to know that sine squared plus cos squared equals 1. Now this story here, the cosine of 70 degrees. There's nothing you can do to reduce that. Just leave that alone. But the cosine of 135 degrees. You have to know where 135 degrees. Well, you bend this way past 90. There it is. It's in the second quadrant. And you need to know that it's 135. The reference angle is 45 degrees. You're 45 degrees away from 180. But cosine in the second quadrant, cosine's negative. So that's your answer, minus cos 45. You get a mark for that. Sine of 150, you go 0, 90. That's where 150 degrees is. And the wedge that's formed in here is 30 degrees. You're 30 degrees away from 180. So it's really the sine of 30. And you have to know sine is positive in the second quadrant. Gee, you get a mark for that. Sine of 160, it's actually pretty easy because it's 20 degrees away from 180 in that second quadrant. It's positive, the sine of 20. Another mark for that. The sine of 225, you have to go 90, 180. There's 225 right there. I went 45 degrees past 180. That's the reference angle. But sine is negative down there, where y is negative. So it's minus sine 45. Well, there's a lot of stuff figured out, really. You've got the cos of 45 and the sine of 45. You've got the sine of 30. The cos of 45 degrees, you put down your special triangle. It's 1 over root 2, but it's negative. And the sine of 45 degrees is 1 over root 2, but it's negative. But hey, those cancel. The sine of 30 degrees is just 1/2. But what did I do here? I've got the sine of 20, and I rubbed it out and put the cos of 70. Well, the sine of an angle is equal to the cosine of 90 minus the angle. That's that cofunction. If the two add up to 90, you can switch sign, switch it to cosine. Look at those cos 70s. Anything divided by itself is 1. They cancel. And those cancel because they're exactly the same number. So you've got 1 divided by 1/2. You tip in times, and you get the answer of it all equaling 2. So there you go.